Okay, so before you start getting crazy with mods, the very first thing that you're going to need to do is to download the Baldur's Gate 3 mod manager. So this mod manager is exactly what it's titled. It's a way for you to install and manage all of your mods that you want in your game. So as someone who's been using mods for several months and has done a lot of troubleshooting, this mod manager makes everything very easy and seamless when activating or deactivating the mods that you want in your game. The only downside to using this mod manager is that all of your installing and updating has to be done manually. But don't worry, that's what this entire video is for. I'm going to hold your hand and walk you through the entire process. So, first things first, I'm approaching this as somebody who has not downloaded anything, who is very vanilla and hasn't modded their game yet. So what you're going to want to do is the very first step is to download the mod manager. So you're going to come here to github.com/laughingleader/bg3 mod manager. So when you're here, you're going to notice that you're going to see, because this is what the web page looks like when you first enter it. When you scroll down here, you're going to see this setup section. If you click this right here, grab the latest release, that is going to automatically download it to your computer. So once you have it downloaded, you're going to extract it. You're going to notice there's a 4 because I've downloaded this a couple of times. So you've downloaded it. This right here, what is highlighted, is what you are going to be opening for accessing the mod manager. This is what you're going to open every single time you want to play the game modded. So I highly recommend that you put this somewhere on your computer that is easily accessible, since you're going to be opening it frequently. So once you've downloaded it and you've extracted it, you're going to double click it and you're going to get this little screen. And then there you go. You're not normally going to get this duplicate mods. I just have mods downloaded. That's why it's showing that. But here we go. So this is what it's going to look like when you've opened your mod manager. Before we get into any of the other stuff, let me give you a quick and brief overview of how the mod manager works. So right over here, this is your active section, and this is pretty self-explanatory. This is where all of the mods that you want in your game, that you want loaded, are going to go. Now you're going to notice there are numbers right here. This is the load order. This is the order that all of your mods are going to be loaded. So like here, for an example, you're going to see that they're numbered 0, 1, 2, and 3. Some mods have to be loaded in a very specific order. We'll get to that in a little bit, but just note that this is the way to know the load order. It goes from 0 on. So you have your active mods. Now let's go down to overrides. So this section is for a lot of the foundational mods, such as you'll see improved UI, mod fixer, all of that good stuff. These are the foundational mods that you need to be able to run a lot of these other mods. The nice thing about this section, though, is that you don't have to really touch it. Once you add a mod to the mod manager, it will automatically go into the override section if it's the appropriate place for it, and then you don't have to mess with it again. Even if you are playing a vanilla game, these mods will stay put and they're not going to affect your game. I've even played multiplayer before with friends who have an unmodded, completely vanilla game, and these can stay right in the overrides and they don't mess with anything. So you also have your inactive mods right here. This is, once again, pretty self-explanatory. This right here is how you are going to put the mods when you don't want them added into your game, which is really nice because you can always add as many mods as you want here, but they don't always have to be active. It's a nice way of getting an overview of all of the mods that you want to play with or have played with in the past. As you can tell, I have quite a few. So last thing, up at the top right here, you're going to see File. When you click File, in order to save the active mod order, what you're going to do is you're going to do Save Order, and then what you're going to do is you're going to come down here and you're going to click Export Order to Game. This is important. If you do not click this, they will not be put into your game. Even if they are in the active mod section, they will not be added into your game unless you export them. So you're going to notice you're going to get this little green section right here. This means that it was successful. So hooray, you have mods in your game. So once you have the Baldur's Gate mod manager fully downloaded onto your PC, now you're going to have to download and install the script extender. So this is the heart of why we even can install and have workable mods within the game. This is a script that gets put into the game and allows all these lovely mods to be able to be installed and used seamlessly within it. So installing the script extender is very easy. You can do it manually if you want, but I don't recommend that. So once you've downloaded your mod manager and you have it up, all you have to do is go up here to Tools, click that, then go to Download and Extract the Script Extender, and then click that. You're going to get this little pop-up that basically is asking for permission to install it. And then all you have to do is click yes. And the great thing about this is that once you've done this, anytime you load up the game, it will automatically update the script extender for you, which is really nice. It's one less thing to have to worry about. So there you go. You're going to notice this little green thing pop down here, which means that it was successfully installed. Okay, so before you start getting crazy and adding 500 plus mods to your mod manager, what we're going to do is we're going to start slow. I know that's easier said than done, but if you add too many mods when you're first starting, it makes it very difficult to troubleshoot if anything goes wrong. So we're going to start slow, test the waters before we start diving in. So when it comes to finding mods, your number one place to go is Nexus mods. There are other places like Patreon or Tumblr, but for the most part, it's safer to stick with Nexus so you can keep track of the mods that you have and the users that have uploaded them. So when you're on the Nexus website, I highly recommend that you make an account first if you haven't already. But once you've done that and you're all logged in, you're going to start finding mods that you want in your game. So before you get crazy, once again, I recommend that you just start with 2 to 3 to begin with. Once you've found the mods that you want to download, there's going to be a couple of things that you're going to need to do. So let me walk you through it. So I have downloaded quite a few mods, so I'm going to just show you with a new mod that I have not downloaded yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this Warlock subclass right here because I have not downloaded this. So you have a mod, this is brand new, you haven't downloaded it yet, so what you're going to do is you're going to come down here and you're going to look at the description. This is important. Please do not skip this part. I know it's tempting to just blaze through and just start downloading, but the creator of the mods will often put very important information within this description section, so please make sure that you are reading it thoroughly. Creators will leave really important information in the post section here. You'll notice that it's important because it's usually pinned to the top and it's red. That's how you know that these are important and you should be reading these. Please don't install mods without reading first. It's very, very important. Now that you've read those two, another thing that you're going to do is you're going to come right here to the description section and you're going to come to requirements and click that. This is also very important because this right here is going to tell you the other mods that are required in order to get this mod to work, okay? So the nice thing is that these are all linked, so all you have to do is click these. I already have these installed, but if, let's say, you wanted to download this and you didn't have these installed, you would go and install all 3 of these as well. This offsite requirement just means that you need the Baldur's Gate 3 mod manager, which I already showed you how to install, and the script extender, which I also showed you how to install. So you should already have those, so you should be golden there. And last but not least, the one other thing that you're going to do is that when you have a mod and you are going to download it, you need to track it. So I'm going to untrack this just to be able to show you what it looks like when you haven't tracked a mod. You're going to see this little tracking button right here. Please click that, because this is very, very important. I'm going to show you later how to kind of go through and look at the tracking page. But for now, when you have a mod that you want and that you want to either track or download, click that. So before you start installing the mod that you've downloaded, what we're going to do first is extract and back up the mod file. I highly recommend having a separate folder on your computer that will hold all of the mods that you have downloaded. So go ahead and create a new folder wherever you feel is appropriate. I have put mine in my documents folder, and then I just named it BG3 mods. So yeah, I highly recommend adding this backup folder as a quick access item as well. So you would come here and do pin to quick access, and then you're going to notice that you're going to see it right here under your pin. So there, it's right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the zip file of the mod that you downloaded and you're going to extract it. Once that is extracted, you're going to take the pack file. You don't need the info.json file. All you have to do is take this and drag it into your backup folder, which I have named the BG3 mods. Then when you come in here, I have mine sorted by date modified. So the one that I first dragged in will be the very first at the very top. And I know this seems like a lot of steps, but trust me, you're going to appreciate how organized and easy it's going to be to find all of your mods when it comes to updating them. So now we have all of our mods downloaded and backed up in our preferred location. Now it's time to actually install them. So when it comes to Baldur's Gate 3 mods, there are two types of mods. Mods that are in the form of a pack file, which is what you're going to see here in my backup folder. And then mods that are in the form of a generated/data folder. But that is a much more extensive installation, but we're going to get there. So let's start with the pack file mods first, because those are the most common and they're the easier of the two. And because you've already backed up the mods that you want to install, all you have to do is open up your backup folder, click the mod that you want to install, and then drag and drop it into your mod manager. You should be able to see it in the section of the active mods, and you'll see the little green thing down here that says that it was successful, and then there you go. Once you notice that your active mod list looks good and all of it is in the right order, in order to get it into your game, what you're going to do is come to File, Save Order. You're going to notice it was successful by the green down here, and then you're going to do File, Export Order to Game. Here you go. And that is that. So now we've gone through the process of installing pack files. So now let's get into how to install mods that have the generated or data folder. Now some mods that you've downloaded might show up as a generated or data folder, which is what you're seeing right here. These mods are a little trickier because you cannot use the mod manager for them. You have to manually install them into the correct folder. Now, if you are new to modding, I recommend staying away from these, as it can get very tricky because you have to add these mods to the correct folder or they won't show up in game and they could cause issues and possibly break your game. But fear not, because I am nothing if not thorough, so I am going to walk you through how to install these mods as well. So in order to install a mod that comes in a generated or data folder, you need to find the generated folder within your Baldur's Gate 3 game files. So let me show you what the address should look like. So this is what the address should look like. Now, once you've located this, I highly recommend that you, once again, pin it to quick access, because you're going to need to access this very quickly in the future. So now what you're going to do is, if you have not downloaded any generated mods before, all you have to do is the mod that you have downloaded, take it, highlight the whole thing, and drag the entire folder over here. And then there you go. Now this should load up when you have your game. The most times that you're going to see generated folders in the form of mods is usually with like tattoos and some types of like makeup or hair, because these cannot be like replaced easily. They have to be like embedded differently into the game. Now, let's just assume that you already have a generated folder here and you've already added a mod here, but you want to add multiple different mods that require the generated folder. What you're not going to do is drag and drop this generated folder into here, because it's just going to replace all of the old mods that you already have in here. This is going to overwrite anything that you've already previously added. What you're going to do instead is open up both of this right here, your data folder, and the new mod that you want downloaded. And I highly recommend kind of just making them small enough so you can kind of see them side by side, because what we're going to do is we're going to go in deep into both. So you're going to just double click each folder until you find it. So public, public. You're going to keep clicking. Shared, shared. Assets, assets. So basically what you're doing is you're just trying to get into the folder that until you see that it doesn't match up. Unique, unique. Body, body. Tattoo, tattoo. Now what you're going to do is then, I already have one here, so I'm not going to drag it and drop it. But what you would do is then you would take this, you would drag and drop it in there, and then now you have multiple. You'll notice that I have already multiples in here, and this is the tactic that I do to use it. Now, as an extra precaution, if you ever want to go back to playing vanilla and you don't want these in here anymore, you can just take this entire generated folder, drag and drop it into your mod folder that you've been using to back up all of your mods previously. This folder is not required to be able to play the game, so you can take this and move it from data if you want it, or into your backup folder if you do not want it. Okay, so now here comes the fun part. Actually testing out your installed mods. If this is your first time installing mods, you are going to get a pop-up when you load this Larian launcher. You're not going to see it on mine because I already have mods installed, but just note that the pop-up is just letting you know that you have mods installed and that you are responsible for them. But don't get scared by the pop-up. If you follow my steps up to this point, you should be completely fine. Now with your mods installed, it's time to load up your game. Now when it comes to testing, it all really depends on what mods you installed. If you installed an appearance mod, you can load up an old save file if you want, but if you're new at this, I highly recommend just starting a new playthrough and just testing it out in character creation. So we know that we installed a subclass mod, so we should be able to see it when we go into class. So it was Warlock, you can go into subclass, and then there you go. You'll notice that it's right there. And then there you go. You know that your mod was installed correctly. Oftentimes you can go into appearances and then you'll notice in whatever section it is. I don't have any installed right now, but you'll notice that in these sections is where you're going to see all of those appearance mods. So if it was a different mod, oftentimes like clothing or armor or any kind of other item in game, you're going to need to, once again, follow the instructions on that specific mods page to figure out where it is. But oftentimes if you want your tab to be able to test out where these like clothing or item mods are, it's on the Nautiloid in this tutorial chest. If you ever see a mod say a tutorial chest add-on, this is where it's going to be. So you'll click that and then you'll notice, see, I have all of these mods here that I have downloaded, and this is where it's going to be. This part is all about testing, so take your time and have fun with it. And also, as a side note, I highly recommend not adding mods to a current and or old playthrough. I recommend starting a brand new tab and a brand new playthrough, because once you add mods to a save file, they have to always be loaded in from there on out. So take my advice and start fresh. Only test with old save files, never save with them. Now that you have all of your mods installed and hopefully you've had some successful testing, it's time to keep track of them all and to update them when new versions are released on Nexus. So at this point, you should have already started tracking all of the mods when you downloaded them. So all you have to do is, when you are in Nexus mods, go up to mods, make sure that you are actually on Baldur's Gate 3, because if you click here, whatever game you are on, that your tracked and your download history is going to only show what game you are on. So make sure first off that you're on Baldur's Gate 3. Then click mods, and under mod updates, you're going to click tracked mods. So this right here is like everything that you have decided to track, whether you have downloaded it or not. If you clicked tracked, this is where it's going to be. And the best part about this page is that not only do you get to see every mod that you've tracked, but you also get to see the dates of when you last downloaded the mod and when the mod user has uploaded a new file. So right here you can see that I have not downloaded this one, so this one wouldn't even need to be updated. However, right here you'll notice for the Necromancer Warlock, I downloaded this on May 7th. However, the user has updated it on May 27th. So I know that if the last upload date is later than my download date, that needs to be updated. You can also look over here, and oftentimes you're going to see that if it has this little orange updated, that means most of the time that you need to update it. So look at this right here, this little orange thing, then check your dates, and then you know that you need to download this to update it. So now let's walk through the process of actually updating your mods. It's very simple, but there are a few key components here that are important. So when updating your mods, you are going through the same exact process as when you added them the first time. So once you're on your tracking page and you've located a mod that needs to be updated, we're going to go ahead and we're going to click through to that mod page. Then from here, all you need to do is go straight to the Files tab. And then you're going to look at all of the options here that you have. Now, you're going to notice that when you've already downloaded it, you can't see it here, but if you go to File Archive, oftentimes that's where it's going to be. You're going to notice a little orange arrow right here, a little cloud with an arrow in it. It's been a little while since I've updated this one, but this is how you know that this is the last time that you've downloaded it. You're also going to see the date right here, but so I know that I need to update this. Now, just like how you download it for the first time, in order to update it, I know that in my main files, this right here is where I'm going to need to download it. So I'll click this, I'll click that, and I'll make sure it's downloaded, and then I'll go once again, go through the same process. Extract all. Now here is the difference. After you've extracted it, you're once again going to do the same exact thing that you were doing before. You're going to take your pack file and you're going to drag and drop it into your backup folder. The only difference here is you're going to get this pop-up that says, do you want to replace it or skip it? You want to replace it because it's a new updated version. You want to replace it from the old one. So click that. Now installing is the same exact thing. You're going to go back into your mods. And you're going to notice if you're sorting by date modified, which I highly recommend, you're going to notice the very one at the top is the one that you just updated. So now all you have to do is upload that to your mod manager. You're going to take it and you're going to drag and drop it in here. Now you're going to notice that in my active list, the date right here is 5/7, which is what matches up with what we saw in Nexus from when I had last downloaded it and updated it. So now when I drag and drop it, it's going to update right here to the current date, and that is how you know that it has done it successfully. And then there you go. That's it. That's all you have to do in order to update. And you can do this in batches too. Like, let's just say that this all right here were things that I had downloaded and needed to update. You could just drag and drop that whole thing, and all of the dates for those mods should be updated. And they don't need to be in the active side either. You can download them and update them even when they're inactive as well. And there you have it. That is an easy way to keep track of and to update all of your mods. It is a manual process and it does take a bit of time, so I recommend checking your mods and updating them around once a week so you don't get overwhelmed. And that is it, my friends. I hope this was helpful. Please leave any questions or comments that you have down below, and I will do my best to answer them. But hopefully this was helpful and you were able to install mods, and now you can have a very exciting modded run. And stay tuned. I will be sharing all of my favorite mods soon. But other than that, go mod, have fun, and thank you for watching.